Errol Spence and Derrick James split? Say it ain't so. Hi, welcome to the channel. I'm Jay, and this is our 2 cents, where we talk everything boxing and everybody's entitled to their own opinion. In today's video, we will be talking about the breakup of Errol the True Spence Jr. and Derrick James. But before we do that, make sure you punch that like and subscribe button, and make sure you let me know and drop it below your 2 cents as I go throughout the video. So, all week, rumors have been swirling around that Errol, the True Spence Jr., has split from his trainer, Derrick James, over a money issue. Now, people have been requesting me to make this video, but like I say I always do, I wanted to wait a little while, see the talk, the rhetoric in the YouTube streets, kind of see how true it was, how true the rumor was, how real the rumor was, how serious it was before I just kind of hopped up here and made a video. So, you know how I do. I'm going to tell you what I've heard, and then I'm going to tell you my 2 cents about the things that I've heard. So make sure you stick around to the end of the video. So, when all this started, right, you heard people saying that Errol Spence and Derrick James were splitting up because after the Terrence Crawford fight, Errol Spence did not pay Derrick James, and he hadn't been paid yet. And I thought that was kind of weird. Like, why wouldn't Errol Spence pay Derrick James? That sounds a little crazy. And I believe this all started when Errol Spence wrote on Twitter that he needed to find a new home. And then he was asked, "Oh, are you leaving the PBC?" He said no. And then people were like, "Are you leaving Derrick James?" And he didn't respond. So boom, here we go. Whole video after video about how they split up and how they've been having issues, and how people in Dallas been knowing that they've been having issues for a long time. And my thing was like, so everybody been knowing they've been having issues for so long. Why nobody ever said nothing? Like, why we haven't heard this before? Like, now all of a sudden, everybody knew they was having these issues, but nobody ever said nothing. So apparently in Dallas, everybody knew that they was having issues and that they were having these disputes with each other over the money from the Terrence Crawford fight. So from my understanding, Derrick James is usually paid from the guarantee that Errol Spence receives for his fights, and he doesn't get any of the back end money. Now, from what I've heard and researched about, that's usually how it works for a fighter. But I heard someone mention that once Derrick James started working with Ryan Garcia and Anthony Joshua, that he received more money for those fights. However, they were contractually set up, I don't know. And so that made him start to question how Errol Spence was paying him. Now, how true that is, I don't know. I heard it in the YouTube streets, so I'm just bringing it up. It could be some truth to it. It could be just absolutely made up. I don't know. But you got to wonder, Derrick James has been working with Errol Spence since he was 15 years old. Why now all of a sudden he's having an issue? So a lot of people were saying that, Errol didn't pay Derrick at all and this and that, which now I believe has been confirmed that that's not necessarily true. They're having an issue on this being the biggest fight of Errol's life and him making the most money he's received in his whole entire career, and Derrick James wanting a bigger percentage of that money versus just getting the money from out of his guarantee. And that, if I'm understanding that right, I think that's what he's trying to say. Now, now people switch trainers all the time. People have issues with their trainers all the time over money. So, it's not nothing that's not uncommon in boxing, right? But I believe that the reason why this is such a big deal is because Derrick James has been Errol Spence's trainer since he was like 15 years old, like all through the amateurs, all through the pro. and everything like that. So because it's like come on guys, people switch trainers all the time. It's not that big of a deal, but it really kind of is that big of a deal when you really think about it, based off of the relationship that they've had all of these years throughout Errol Spence's career. So I'm hearing this and hearing the stories and hearing what everybody's saying, and I don't and it's hard for me to say who's wrong here, right? Just to give my 2 cents, right? If I had to sit down and think about it and be like, okay, you wrong, you need to just pay that man, or Derrick, you wrong, you shouldn't be asking for no extra money. It's kind of hard to pick who's wrong here, and in my opinion, just to give my 2 cents, because if I normally pay you this way, right? This is the agreement that me and you have agreed to all this time, all these fights, and it's never been an issue, then why is it an issue now, right? Is it an issue because you've worked with other fighters and y'all had a different business type of structure set up and you was able to get more money? Or is it an issue because of the amount of money that I made in this fight? Like, why is it an issue? Now, we don't know if this has always been an issue and this was just the final straw. And it's really kind of hard to even I'm just really basing my opinion off what I've heard, because it's really hard to even say anything when we don't know all of the facts, right? We don't know how long this has been an issue. We don't know if this always been an issue. We don't know if he's always said something. Like, we don't know that. So it's kind of hard to tell. But based off what I know, this is what I would say. Why is it an issue now? I would have to ask Derrick, like, Derrick, why is this an issue now? Is it because you work with other fighters and y'all business was structured different? Or is it because of the amount of money that I made in this fight that it's an issue? And from my understanding, I'm not sure if this is still true, but I believe that Derrick James still has his full-time job. I don't know if he's a full-time trainer now, but last time I heard him say anything about it, Derrick James still had his full-time job. And also, I believe that Derrick and Errol pretty much had the type of relationship where I'm really not fooling with you unless we training for a fight. So it's not like, some people have relationships with their trainer where they best friends and they hang out and they talk all the time and they there for them. They call them when they have problems. They call them. From my understanding, that their relationship isn't like that. And I feel like a lot of times, even when you hear Derrick James talk, he doesn't seem too concerned with things. Like, they're like, oh, who he fighting next? Like, oh, I don't know. I don't handle the business. I just train the fighters. I don't know nothing about that. I don't know. So to me, he seems like very hands off. Like, he didn't know too much about the business. All he do is his job. He come in, he train his fighters, and then he go about his day. And so just Derrick coming off like that, to me, would seem like it would be like, okay, this is what I'm gonna pay you. This is what we gonna do. You're gonna get a percentage of the purse. You cool with that? Derrick was probably like, yeah, okay, boom, let's move on, right? So what I could say is, if this hasn't been a problem this whole time, why is it a problem now? That's really my main question. And I heard people say, well, it's because he worked with those other fighters and he got paid a lot more money. Now, let me give my 2 cents about that right quick. Just because you've leveled up and now you're working with other fighters and you have different contract agreements with them about how you're going to get paid, that don't necessarily mean you're going to double back to me and then all of a sudden want to switch up what we doing. I mean, you can try and we can talk about it. And if I agree, then cool. But if I don't agree, I don't necessarily think, well, I can't speak for Derrick James, but if I don't agree, I wouldn't necessarily be like, oh, forget it, then get out of my gym. I'm not going to train you no more. It's kind of like how you pay for something, right? And the price go up, but you're grandfathered into the old deal that they had, like at the gym I go to, right? Their prices have went way up, right? But since I've been with the gym for so long, I'm grandfathered in to the old membership fees. So my prices don't go up. So it would kind of be messed up for them to kind of go back and be like, oh, well, our price is going up. We're going to change your membership prices too. I'd be like, hold on, why you changing my membership prices? Like, I've been here. When I registered, signed up for the gym, this is how much it costs. So it could be one of those situations to where you want to go back and change things, especially if this was after the fight. You saying this, you want to go back and change things after the fight, and Earl might just be like, no. Now moving forward, maybe we could renegotiate a new contract, but I'm not gonna double back and go pay you more because you got a new contract agreement with other fighters and you see that things are different. Like, you didn't care about this before, so why are you caring about it now? And also, who's to say that I'm not the reason why you got those other fighters that you training? Who's to say I'm not the reason why Anthony Joshua, Ryan Garcia, why these fighters decided to come and work with you, right? They see my performance, they see our relationship, they see how well I've been doing, and they's like, okay, well, I see how he working with Derrick James. I see how he working with Charlo. Like, I want to go over there and work with Derrick James because of the fighters that he's already worked with. So he was able to attract those fighters with the way that you've been training and working with me and the other fighters that you had previously before they got there. So who's to say that couldn't take a play in it? And now you want to backdoor and go back and try to charge me more money because of the contractual agreement or the business that you did with them or the business that you're doing with your new fighters. So I don't know. Like, it can go both sides. And there may be some people that say, well, Derrick James bossing up now, he leveling up, he got more fighters, he got this, he got that. Maybe it's time for him to increase his fees. Maybe it's time for him to get a bigger percentage. Earl's getting bigger fights. He's making more money. So maybe now it's time for Earl to pay Derrick more money. Like, I've been with you all this time. I was with you when you wasn't making no money. Why wouldn't you want to increase what you paying me? Why would you want to just keep paying me the same thing? Or why can't we just rewrite our contract and do something different? You're making more money now, so I should get a bigger percentage. Like, who's to say exactly what's going on? But just to give my 2 cents, I believe that whatever it is that they got going on, they should be able to work it out. They should be able to figure out whatever financially that they got going on and be able to work it out. Because honestly, at first I didn't even really believe it. I thought that this was a whole Canelo left the PBC type of rumor. And then Derrick James put up a video of all of Earl's stuff out the gym, like his punching bags was gone, the walls was painted black. Like, he put this video up on Instagram, and I was like, wow. Like, I thought it was a little passive aggressive, in my opinion, just to give my 2 cents for Derrick to do that. But I'm like, damn, are they really beefing this hard like that? Because, Derrick seemed like a chill guy. He don't get too much involved with nothing. He don't respond to much. But he put that video up, and I was like, woo, that's crazy right there. That's crazy right there. So I really just hope that they're able to work it out, because they was boxing's like dynamic duo. And a lot of people are trying to say, Terrence Crawford destroyed a whole organization. Terrence Crawford is like, listen, guys, Terrence Crawford doesn't have anything to do with Derrick James and Errol Spence splitting up. Like, I don't think that it has anything to do with the loss. I don't think it has anything to do with the way Derrick James, quote unquote, trained Errol Spence for the fight. I don't think any of that has anything to do with them splitting up. I think it's business and it's money, and Derrick James may feel like he's owed something different or that he wants something different. But my biggest question that I really have about this whole situation is, why now? Is it because of the amount of money that he made? And is it that serious, Derrick, to where you had to kick Errol Spence out of your gym and decide not to train him anymore? And I think it's a weird situation, because I'm like, are you still training Frank Martin? Right? Isn't that awkward and a little weird that Derrick James will still be training Frank Martin if him and Earl split up? I think that might be a little awkward. And then people are saying, oh, well, Derrick James is going to sue Errol Spence. And I'm like, wow, that's sue him. That's kind of taking it a little far. And I mean, I'm not sure what your argument would be for suing him, especially if he pays you the same way that he's been paying you his whole entire career. But let me know what you think about the Derrick James Errol Spence split up by dropping your 2 cents below in the comment section. Be sure to help support the channel by punching that like and subscribe button. Follow me on IG at 2 Cents Boxing or follow me on Twitter X at 2Cents20. I'm Jay, and stay tuned for my 2 cents in the next video.